Hello, my name is Doug Leisure. Thank you for joining me as we go through this training video for Sage Budgeting and Planning. This is another in the series, Getting Started, and today we're looking at the budget cycle. Just a reminder that we have some of different resources available to help you with using this software. Remember that there are other how-to documents and training videos as part of this series that are available for you, as well as the user guide, which has hundreds of pages of documentation to help you out with using the software. And you'll find that in the CD, the installation CD that you downloaded, in the PDF folder. And if you have any questions or problems, remember that you can reach out to the technical support team at Sage, and their contact information is shown on the screen now. This video picks up after you have installed Budget and Planning, after you've used the Quick Start Assistant to connect to the general ledger data or installed the standard demonstration data, after you've used the basic budgets wizard to create a plan, and optionally modified the plan and the global assumptions. And now you're ready to go through the budget cycle. All right, so this brings a question to my mind. How long has it been since you have started setting up your plan to get ready for the budget cycle? If it's been just a couple days, no problem. If it's been a couple weeks, then we probably ought to look at refreshing the general ledger data before you start your budget cycle. So let's go ahead and take a look at that process. So what we're going to do is go to the Utilities menu, Import, and then from the list of import scripts that are available, I'm going to choose the one that applies to updating the balances, the actual balances. Now the import tool is highly customizable, so you may have different names for your import scripts, but choose the one for the actual balances. We're going to go ahead and run that. And we see the details of what it's going to do during the import. Go ahead and run again, and we'll give it a moment to complete this. All right, we see that it's completed. We'll close this screen, and we're ready to move on. All right, so we've brought a new set of general ledger data into the software, and now we want to apply that data to all of our plan sheets within our plan. We will be using the refresh calculations process to put the data into every plan sheet, refresh it in every plan sheet. Now, knowing that it also pulls in information from the global assumptions sheet, I think it would make sense to visit the global assumption sheet and make sure that you have correct values in here before you run the refresh of calculations. All right, having checked out our global assumptions, we're ready to do it. Now, we want to refresh the calculations in every sheet throughout the entire plan. And so the software supports what it calls plan processing as a way to run a process across the entire plan. So select the highest level sheet, which would be our summary location here, and then using the menu Management, Plan Processing. And this will bring up the plan processing screen. You'll see that there's a lot of different tabs here because this particular tool is used for a lot of different functionalities, a lot of different processes. But the one we want to use is just under the Processing tab. We will click on Consolidation in the upper right-hand corner. And then down here, we're going to tell the software that before we consolidate, we want to refresh the calculations in every subsheet. And then finally, we're going to use this option to say that after we've completed everything, please go ahead and calculate or refresh the calculations in the top level sheet. So just these three simple check marks. Go ahead and run, and it'll begin the process. We'll give it a moment to finish. And it has completed. Please notice the elapsed time here on the screen, and you'll see that it actually did take more than just a few minutes. So that's not very surprising because refreshing the calculations in the entire plan is one of the longest processes that we would run in the budgeting tool. And now we're ready to move through the budget cycle. As we do that, every plan sheet will need updated. I've seen customers use a couple different methodologies for doing this. In one case, the finance team will be involved in opening every plan sheet, working with the department manager to update their budgets. But the finance team only is working within the tool. In other situations, the customers will be using the WebView software, an optional piece of software that works with a budgeting and planning software. In that case, the department managers themselves use WebView to open the plan sheets, enter their budgets, and save their plan sheets. Either process will work, but if you are using WebView, then it's important to note that you'll want to make sure that your plan has the right permissions set to allow those WebView users to check out the sheets and make changes. So if we select the entire plan and do the properties, we'll just right click and do properties. Make sure that there is a check mark here in this option, allow sheet checkouts to the sheet managers and planners. All right, for this training, we're going to use the method where the finance team is going to go through and open the sheets and make the changes with their department managers. Remember that the examples I'm showing you here were created using the standard demonstration data. So if you want to see the exact same results, make sure you've loaded the standard demonstration data. We're going to start with the North America location and the sales department. So we'll just go ahead and open that sheet and look at the results. So the historical information has been populated in the plan sheet for each of our accounts for this particular department. We've calculated our annualized amounts. From the global assumption sheet, we're saying that all of the revenue is going to be increased by 3.25% by default. And this is our new annual budget. So I'm pretty happy with a lot of the values that are here. Like in row 4, that works just fine for the mouse pads. If we take a look at pens for North America, we know that we're going to be having a new initiative to sell more pens in North America. And so therefore, 380,000 is probably a little too low. So we'll go ahead and make it 500,000. So we'll just enter that in the blue cell, the new annual budget. Looking down at some of the other values are looking pretty good, but I noticed that gift sets in North America is 0 because we had no history. We had not sold gift sets before. Now again, we know that this year we're planning on a new initiative to sell gift sets to North America, and we expect that we're probably going to sell about 25,000 for the year. So we'll go ahead and enter that. In a very similar way, you would go ahead and just march down through the rest of your accounts and make the necessary changes. Finish it off for all of your sheets and save the plan sheet. And move on to the next plan sheet. Entering your budgets. Again, just continue through this process of working with each of your department managers to make the change in their particular department sheets. Once you've finished working with each of your department managers to update their department budget sheets, then the next thing you would want to do would be to aggregate all of the information up through the plan tree so that we can see both at the location, roll-up, and the total company summary, what do the budgeted values look like. And what we're going to do is use the plan processing to accomplish that. So just like we did before, click on the summary location, the highest level plan sheet. Under Management, Plan Processing, we'll go to the Processing tab. This time we're going to choose the consolidation, and that's all we're going to choose. We don't want to refresh the calculations because the data was already refreshed. No need to do that. All we want to do is consolidate the results of the budgeted values that have been entered department by department. So consolidation only, run, and then we'll give this a moment to finish. And it has completed. And if you look at the elapsed time, you'll notice that it was very fast in doing the consolidation only function. At this point, we would open our plan sheet at the various levels, our roll-ups, as well as our summary level for the entire company, and take a look at the values. So what do things look like? Our revenues in total, our cost of goods sold, our net revenue. What do our expenses look like? But most importantly, at this high level, what is our overall profit or loss? And if this is an acceptable number and we can get approval on it, then we're done. A lot of times, though, you'll find that after the first pass, you need to go back and do another iteration through the budget process, asking your department managers to increase or decrease their values. So go ahead and do as many iterations as you need until you have an approved budget.